Today we're making an incredibly delicious dessert mashup for summer, peach cobbler bread pudding. Hi there foodie friends, my name is Carly and welcome back to my channel, Adventures in Yum. Okay, so a quick side note before we get into this video. This is a part of my series, If I Were to Meet a Superhero, What Would I Make for Them? This one is dedicated to Anthony Mackie's Captain America. Sam is from the South, so I decided to combine two classic Southern desserts, peach cobbler and bread pudding. I think that he would really like this one and I hope that you do too. We're going to start by taking about 2 slices of bread depending on their size and cutting them into small cubes. I usually use sourdough, but here I'm using soft sandwich bread. We're spreading the bread pieces onto a foil-lined baking sheet that has already been sprayed with non-stick cooking spray, and then baking this at 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 204 degrees Celsius for approximately 12 to 15 minutes. I also like to flip them around about the 10-minute mark for more even baking. While the bread pieces bake, we're whipping up the peach portion of this peach cobbler bread pudding. If you see my apple pie filling video, it's very similar to make the peach filling. To a medium-sized saucepan, we're adding a 1/4 cup or half a stick or 55 grams of unsalted butter, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. We place that over a medium-high heat on the stove. As the butter melts, stir the mixture occasionally. Once the butter is completely melted and the mixture looks nice and bubbly like this, we add about 1 cup of diced peaches. We cook the mixture for about 2 minutes, and while that's on the stove, we combine 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar. We give that a quick whisk, and then we mix in 1 tablespoon or 15 milliliters of water. This is called a slurry, and that's what we're using to thicken the mixture in the saucepan. We then stir this mixture into the saucepan on the stove and continue to whisk the mixture until it thickens and looks like a gel. We reduce the heat to a medium-low heat and cook for approximately 2 to 3 minutes while stirring frequently. We then remove them from the heat and let it cool while we work on the custard portion. To a saucepan, we add half a cup or about 118 milliliters of heavy whipping cream and half a cup or about 118 milliliters of whole milk. We give that a quick whisk and then place the pan on a medium-high heat on the stove until it reaches a simmer. While the cream mixture comes to a simmer to a small or medium-sized mixing bowl, we add a 1/4 cup or 50 grams of granulated sugar and a half teaspoon of ground cinnamon. We give that a quick whisk and then add 2 large egg yolks. We whisk these ingredients together until the mixture slightly lightens in color about 1 to 2 minutes. Once the cream mixture is brought to a simmer, we remove it from the heat. We're now tempering the eggs by slowly pouring some of that cream mixture into the egg yolk and sugar mixture, making sure that we whisk constantly as we do so. Once about 1/3 or a half of the cream mixture has been added to the egg mixture, we're going to pour the mixing bowl contents back into the saucepan, whisking constantly while doing so. We're placing the saucepan back on the stove, stirring frequently and cooking over a medium-low heat until it slightly thickens and coats the back of a spoon. We then add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and a little pinch of salt and mix that into the custard. Next, we pour this mixture over the dried bread pieces in a medium-sized mixing bowl. You don't have to strain the custard, but I always like to do this just in case whenever I make a custard base. We gently mix the custard and bread pieces around to ensure that all of the bread pieces get coated in that custard. Next, we add our peach filling and gently mix them in with the bread pieces. We then set this aside to let the bread absorb the mixture for about 5 minutes or so. And while that sits on the side, we're whipping up the streusel topping. I'll provide the link for my streusel recipe video below in the description. Now, on top of a baking dish lined with parchment paper, we have this small oval dish that we've sprayed with non-stick cooking spray. I received these as a gift to try out, and so far, I love them. But if you don't have this kind of baking dish, you can also use maybe 2 or 3 8-ounce ramekins instead. We first spoon some of the bread pudding mixture into the baking dish, filling it about halfway. This is when I realized that I needed another one of these baking pans because I had too much filling, so I grabbed another one and put the rest of the mixture in it. Then, to each ramekin, we add a generous amount of streusel topping and smooth it out. I probably could have used less streusel, but that's absolutely my favorite part of a peach cobbler, so I just split the streusel between the 2 pans. And so it's a really, really thick layer of streusel, but so delicious. Once it's all smoothed out, we're baking this in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 degrees Celsius for about 40 to 45 minutes. Before we check out our bread pudding and top it with some yummy stuff, if you're getting value out of this video, then please make sure to hit that like button, click subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified about my latest video. We remove them from the oven and place them on a cooling rack, and we allow the bread pudding to cool for at least 30 minutes or so. And then to finish it off, I decided to add some vanilla bean ice cream and some homemade caramel sauce. This bread pudding can actually be enjoyed warm or cold, but I personally love it served cold. This dessert is so good. The cinnamon and peach flavors in the peach and creamy custard base combined with the flavorful crunchy streusel topping, the cold creamy vanilla bean ice cream, and the luscious caramel sauce make this a wonderfully indulgent dessert that is perfect for this time of summer. Let me know in the comments if you give this scrumptious dessert a try and how you like it. If you're interested in checking out some of the products I used in this video, then please make sure to check out that video description below for their Amazon links. Thank you so much for joining me today, foodie friends. I'll see you next time for another yummy adventure.